Are they communicating, Steve? What are they doing?
What is this? Is it part raptor or something?
I don't know.
What?
Listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
And my name is Arnes.
And today... What?
Huh?
Huh?
What?
Thought he was talking. But today... What today...
We have this guy sitting with us.
Why?
Because this was such a good movie. I figure we put in a good toy to represent it.
Well, I think you have... Anyways, today we're going over the movie Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Or, as some of you also might know, Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster.
I think I like Hedorah better.
Hedorah. Yeah, I like how they actually named a element after the monster in the movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But, for the premise of this movie, essentially what it is
garbage?
Literally. Because it's kind of like a big, we shouldn't pollute kind of movie. Or environmental movie, I should say.
Wait. So, last movie, 60s, was anti-bullying.
Now it's anti-pollution.
I'm starting to see, like, these movies should be like...
Again, this is another one of those geared more towards younger kids. Even though we'll get to it, why it's kind of weird that they're doing the way they filmed the movie anyways. But, essentially, we've been polluting too much, which makes a monster called Hedorah, which might have also come from space.
Which we don't know.
Might have.
A rock fell.
Something.
And absorbed all that pollution.
The Hedorah start combining with each other to become larger Hedorahs. Eventually, a scientist and his kid find out about the monster, and they try to devise a way to defeat the monster while also it evolves and fights with Godzilla.
It's not even its final form, trust me.
Yeah, literally. It's pretty much a Dragon Ball Z fight. Every time you see it, there's something new about it. Which is something that's actually cool for the plot, anyways, for me, is that the monster's always changing throughout the film. So it always has like different forms and different takes of how each of the fights are going to be happening, which is something I thought was really cool.
But there wasn't that many fight scenes in this movie.
And that was a decent amount. You pretty much get him fighting the frog form, the amphibious form. You get him fighting the flying form and the final form, and then the final form again-ish.
Wait, those are fighting scenes? I thought it was just...
Yeah, there's a little bit of delays in between the action.
A little bit.
A lot, like where he's going... Which... I don't know what that actually means. I never actually looked it up. I don't know if it's an insult or anything. Like, let me know in the comment section below if you guys actually know.
Or...
yeah, we're actually...
wait, wrong eye.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a few.
No.
I love it. That part of the plot's really cool. But then again, it's also the most trippiest of the Godzilla films.
It is the 70s.
It's true. There's a lot of psychedelicness to this movie, especially with the dance, the party scene.
Which one? The club or the...
At the club.
Or the
where
mountain?
He's drinking, and I don't know how he ends up tripping balls and seeing fish-headed people before the amphibious Hedorah attacks. Like, that part's a little weird. Also, the music in this movie...
This is the greatest thing about the movie.
It's pretty much the way I would describe it is how Arnes hates the Mothra movies because of the fairy sing. I hate this movie because of all the freaking 70s music.
So bad.
Especially when Godzilla shows up where it sounds like a cat's dying. It's just like, stop it. Where's my normal music? Like that. Another thing about the plot too is that Hedorah always seems to be attacking our main protagonist in the film, which is the little kid. His name's Ken. His older brother, which he was at the club, and his father, which he almost kills when he's scuba diving, but you don't see it, and you think
How does he survive?
Yeah, you think he's dead after being attacked by Hedorah, but then he's just back at the house with some burns. There's a little bit of a plot hole right there.
A little bit. Like, it literally seizes him underwater. I'm assuming catches him, burns his breathing mask off, because that's the only way the way it burns his body.
Yeah, it's like he messed up his entire face, but yet he still managed to survive, especially when some people in the movie, when the monster's just pretty much near and flying over people, it kills people because of sulfuric gas.
Or just constantly keeps pooping everywhere.
That's true. It does like to poop a lot. It spits. It's a pretty disgusting monster.
Okay, so first of all, what is this kid, a psychic?
Yeah, that is kind of weird, isn't it? He always seems to know when Godzilla's around.
He's like, everybody's just partying and music just stops in his head and he's like, and you see that animated Godzilla Spitfire and he's like, oh yeah, Godzilla coming. Oh. She was like, are you sure? Yeah, make sure Godzilla coming.
You really need to stop your Japanese.
Oh, fuck that.
I'm gonna have to dub over him or something. That's how amazing it is. Yeah, and then there's like when he's on the train and he's like, I see Godzilla. And what happens is you see in the shot absolutely nothing, and then it just like freeze frames, and then there's Godzilla just magically standing in the same spot where nothing was standing there. So, then he's like, oh, well, Hedorah must be around because Godzilla's here to save the day. Even though, as what we learned in other previous Godzilla movies, he doesn't really care a whole lot about people.
That's another thing.
Which is...
At the end of the movie, Godzilla was like, hey, I saved the day. Can I get a high five? And everybody was like, ah! And he's like, oh, I'm just going to end this movie in a sad note with a sad music playing in the background.
Just walk away with my eye on fire. Yeah, so it seems kind of weird to have a psychic kid in the movie and not actually mention it. So I know he's not really actually psychic, but damn, that kid is good.
So wait. So does this kid appear in the other movies too? Because he obviously has some kind of connection with the
definitely seems useful, especially when he's like, Godzilla's here to save us. Why would he be here to save us? Don't fight this, just let it happen. So
you think he would be in the other movies, right? Because he obviously has something going on with Godzilla.
Actually, I was just going to say, I'm not just actually 100% sure, because I can't... We actually have to keep watching these Godzilla movies, because these older ones I'm a little bit more rusty on. But I'm pretty sure he's not any of the other kids in the film, even though I do know Toho actually likes to reuse a lot of the same actors. I'm pretty sure it's a different kid.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. But the one thing I will give this movie, though, is it's definitely the most original Godzilla movie that we have gotten, and also what's ever going to come out from here on out. Because there's no other Godzilla movies where you're going to see little animations cut in between the actual movie that spoils the movie for you.
That's another thing that bugged me.
I thought it was cool because it's different, but
no, that was just used to distract me from the main storyline. Was those little animated scenes and baby crying in one corner of a screen and dancing fish head on another screen.
Yeah, there's like the little skull just like ha 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 on the little TV screens before they try to give you a seizure.
Yeah, and then the baby just keeps screaming and like there's like hundreds of different screens on there, and all I can still hear is that baby screaming in that mud. I was like, my God, these people are horrible.
Yeah, they really like to show you the sludge. Like any time in this movie there's something could be dirtified, it is.
Including, hey, we're gonna shove this baby in this mud. Scream for us.
Just cry. Cry for us, child.
I feel like I'm watching the first X-Men. You owe me a scream.
Don't make me remember that movie. Alright, next we'll go over the suits, which the Godzilla suit is the same one we had in the last movie.
Hideous.
I think it's okay.
It's hideous. You can see the banged up it took in the last
movie. Yeah, it's definitely starting to show a little bit of wear. Because some of the scales are starting to come off, like you can see on the neck and certain other regions of the body.
Oh God, that's another thing we forgot. He breaks his neck. His neck was like all like...
Oh yeah, there's a scene where he like falls down. His head's kind of not in a position it probably should be in. Also, this Godzilla has a really long neck. Which I know, like when the suit actor is in there, like his head's actually in the neck. It's not in the head. He was
like, oh God, where's it at? Let me adjust it back in there.
Yeah, where he's like grabbing for breath. There's some parts where it just looks like he's making sure his head's not off yet. That's pretty funny. But for the most part, it works. I guess my only real problem with this movie, in terms of just like the scenes with Godzilla and Hedorah, are mainly, it doesn't feel like a giant monster fight.
They seem too small.
Like, it just... I guess it's the way the cinematography shot, where a lot of the scenes just seem more like, I guess just kind of like wrestling matches, like this could actually be normal size. Like even when they're fighting your buildings and stuff, like sometimes the buildings will magically disappear.
Magic.
And then it just kind of takes away from the aspect of it actually being a giant monster movie. And them actually wreaking destruction, even though they state that the monsters did a lot of damage, like especially for the fight when Hedorah's in amphibious form. There's like 200 something buildings that are destroyed, like 30 people are dead, and hundreds injured.
We just don't see it for some reason.
Yeah, you don't really get to see a lot of that destruction. And to me, that just kind of takes away from the fights a little bit, which this is not going to be... This is pretty much the first time this has really happened in the movies. not the last time this is going to happen, mind you. But the other times, at least there's a little bit more, like, things to really give me size comparisons, and the cinematography is slightly different in those, so it helps me a little bit better. So the suit, for me anyways, is suitable. It's perfectly fine. It's not quite as damaged as we're going to see it. But... oh,
God, it gets worse?
Yeah, it does.
Well, that just sounds lazy.
Well, they try to use, like, the save on production money, because these movies come out pretty damn quick.
No, I can tell.
So they don't want to keep making the same Godzilla over and over again. Especially since I actually have his figure, which you guys probably seen in the intro. Which, actually, again, I don't really mind this Godzilla suit. It's not my favorite in the series. Especially, like, I want an actual figure of this guy actually battle damage. Which, for one scene in the movie, like Arnes mentioned, you'll see Hedorah spit some slime at him, flies at his eye. Ah, my eye! And then when it comes back to the shot of him, he pulls his hand away, and then this eye's damaged. That's a bit of a problem.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. Like, I imagine they were trying to fix it because the suit actor came up and you don't really want to reshoot that shot. Understandable. But it's noticeable. I would love to have Godzilla with that actual damage, though. That'd be cool.
Which part of damage? He takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, like, I love how he's actually, like, what he expects, which we'll go, I guess, slightly over now, is that when, like, the sludge hits him and whatnot, he actually smokes, which is really cool.
My favorite special effect scene would be when he shoves a hand in there and pulls it out. He's like, oh, God, it's on fire. And it's just, like, all white and burned.
Oh, there's one. I'll get into it in a little bit.
Oh, you mean the...
for Hedorah, I actually love the Hedorah suits.
It's different monster.
Yeah, he's a really cool looking monster. Essentially, he's just a giant sludge monster with two eyes that are in the wrong position.
One eye. He's going to lose one.
He does lose one, but essentially, he's just pretty much a giant pile of sludge in more humanoid form, which you guys also saw in the intro. And actually, I'll just grab it right now. Actually, grabbing the Godzilla too, but this is what Hedorah looks like. And I think he's just a really neat and interesting looking kaiju, which you don't really see a lot of these unique characteristics in the Godzilla monsters. Like in Ultraman, you see a little bit more different, but I think they actually did a really cool look on this guy. Like, he looks like a monster. Like, it doesn't look like some guy is actually standing inside of this thing, and especially when you get him in his, like, amphibious form, and they also have the UFO or the flying form as well. Or there's also the tadpole form you could also call a form.
I don't know where the jet comes out of, and I don't want to know.
Yeah, well, he's essentially just lifting himself up with sulfuric gases that he...
Okay, so I'll give you that. Alright, I know this is out of the section we're talking about, but he's flying with the sulfuric acid, the nuclear power sulfuric acid, where he got it from space or whatever, or what they think at least.
Science.
Is he flies over the buildings, destroys people instantly die, he magically flies through this building.
Yeah, the building melts. Somehow it doesn't take any damage from actually flying through, because you think there'd still be some contact with the sludge.
Yeah.
Because it's sludge.
And then he flies over the people at the dance-off competition, I would say, that they had.
Yeah, where they're dancing in the mountain for reasons. And then...
how come nobody died there when he flew over them?
Yeah, that part's a little odd, because I like how they were just dancing, just essentially they were trying to beat Hedorah is the way they explained it. And also... I guess send a message.
My favorite part...
with some old people sitting in the...
My favorite part is the Children of the Corn. Yeah. With the old people just like looking at all the younger kids, like people dancing. They're all like...
Yeah, which I guess also for the plot, even though I guess we'll come back to, or even though we're talking about the suits, is this movie is scary. Especially for children, which this movie's geared towards. You see people die in horrific ways. The freaking old creepy people standing in the middle of the field staring at the... younger teens dancing out in the wilderness.
Because that was their plan to defeat him.
Yeah, the monster's scary. Godzilla almost dies. There's like Mortal Kombat ripping out parts in this.
He's gonna finish him.
Like, if it wasn't for him being made out of sludge, this movie would be horrific. Especially with like the trippy dancing. Like, when I saw this movie when I was a kid, this movie actually legitimately scared me.
This movie scared me, but in the wrong ways.
This is terrified me when I'm older too. But getting back to the Hedorah suit, I love it. It's definitely the best thing about this movie.
Yeah, definitely the best thing about this movie is how unique and different the monster actually is. It's not just another dinosaur we found hidden in a mountain or
a giant ape or a giant other creature.
Yeah.
Except for Gabra, which, yeah. But even like how they had like the sludge kind of just like hanging off of him in random places too. Like it all looked cool. Like he even has a little tail. Like he's amazing.
The Godzilla used body slam.
Yeah, just like, it's awesome. So the Godzilla suits, okay. Hedorah, amazing. And then finally for the actual prop special effects in this movie, which I've already gone over some with some of the screw ups with the eyes and him flying through the buildings, not actually taking damage, and flying over some people and melting them, and then some people perfectly fine. Which the melting scenes are super terrifying.
There's that one scene, like, it instantly flies over people and they instantly turn to skeletons.
Yeah, well, sorry, they go, like, they fly over, turn into, like, the black ape-looking things from Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and then...
I was about to say, they turn black into skeletons.
With, like, sometimes having goop on them, sometimes not.
But when he flies through that building, there's a guy that jumps off a building.
Oh, God, yeah, I love that. He's just, he's literally just, like, tumbling. He's like, ah! And then when he hits the ground, he's already a skeleton.
How?
I don't know. But the little kid's fine.
He's psychic. He's
little
special.
Kenny. All right, he's just got like a protective barrier over him.
I get it. He's like the actual Kenny from South Park. He can't die.
Yeah, he just keeps coming back.
Yeah, his mom just keeps giving birth to him. It would explain the facial expressions she actually does in there.
Yeah, those random times you get to see her.
Yeah, she's like what's wrong?
Also, like, I would like to know, like, there's that scene where like Hedorah's flying over the house, and this is the scariest part for me as an adult, is seeing all those awesome toys get slimed all over.
Oh God, the money they threw
Yeah,
away.
I was just like, but I would love and cherish each and every one of those. You just pooped all over them. You. And then there's the fish.
It's what they thought of their own figures.
Yeah. And then, of course, the older guy that we need for the plot stays alive, same with his wife. But the fish in the fish tank end up dying.
They keep murdering fishes in this
and
movie.
I want to know if like the fish actually died, because that seems sad.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they just dirtied the water and put dead fish in. Like that's what I imagine happened, but still.
But somewhere along the road, they still have to kill fish.
Yeah, I just found some. Like, well, especially with the slime, like the sludge in the water, which is probably the best part of the movie, because when you see like the sludge like going across, there's like random suitcases on top. You'll see like mannequins. Like everything is on top of this slime, and it's amazing. Like especially when they're underwater too, because you see like some like random like bed frames, another suitcase, a car that's the same size as the suitcase.
Oh, it's whatever, man. It's
yeah, you just kind of just toss whatever. There's a baby. But one of my favorite special effects scenes is actually inside of the building where they're having the club at. Is after like some of the parts of Hedorah go flying across. Is it lands like in one of the buildings, comes down the stairs for reasons, and then goes back up the stairs for reasons. Everybody's freaking out about this. And then when it pulls up all the way, there's a kitty in there.
It explained. It only eats smog and sludge and leaves kitties alone. But it kills humans.
Yeah, it kills humans because of sulfuric acid, which would have been inside the tentacle slime thing that the kitty was in.
How did it survive?
Still an awesome scene, though. I just like how the cat's like... just covered.
What is going on here?
Looks so confused. And there's a lot of technical stuff like that that's actually pretty cool, like very Blob-esque. And I also love, too, like, he's, like, ripping the slime out of Hedorah and just, like, throwing it across the thing. Like, at the end, he's doing, like, the Mortal Kombat, just ripping things out of him.
He was like...
Just stomping on him. That's pretty sweet. There's also, like, the scenes where, like, Hedorah's, like, pooping all over him after dropping him into a mountain.
Now we get to the good scenes of this movie. He body slams Godzilla or whatever, knocks him out. Goes in his flying form, picks him up, throws him in a mountain. Godzilla rolls into this puddle, and he just goes on top of him, and he's just like, oh, diarrhea all over the place.
Yeah, the entire time, like, there's a scene because they keep like going back and forth as he's literally crapping all over Godzilla. He's just like,
why?
Because it's awesome.
And
this movie's got so many good scenes.
And then there's that scene where it's like they're having that stare off, and the Godzilla sneaks his tail across, hits the rock, and the guy looks over there, and the Godzilla was like, my eye. Huh.
Yeah, punches him right in the eye. And you get those like awesome money shots too, where it's like the close up, where it's like, it's like literally from Temple of Doom.
Okay, now we're gonna talk about the scene where this movie just completely lost me, but it's Steve's favorite scene. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay,
I just gotta say it's your favorite scene.
I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people's favorite scene. Is where after they first attack Hedorah, because the way they decide to defeat the monster after going to the hills to have a dance-off is that they're going to use these giant metal plates with electrodes and electrocute Hedorah and dry him out. Which doesn't work the first time, but Godzilla ends up getting him in there, atomic breathing, which causes electricity even though Godzilla's in there. We get electricity. But ends up defeating Hedorah's, I guess, first final form.
He has one more
after ripping out the iconic bulbs out of him and electrocuting those. Then another Hedorah from the inside flies away, and Godzilla decides to give chase by flying after him, which is amazing. I don't know how you can hate that. He's literally just like, he just flies off after him.
Man, I gotta pick up my own tail, put it between my legs so I can fly.
Yeah, because you don't want to cause drag while you're flying.
Horrible.
Science. God.
Sorry, science explains everything.
Exactly. How do you hate that?
Movie scene was horrible.
The movie scene's amazing.
And the epic music was playing while he was flying. God.
Also, another scene I love too is where Hedorah's smoking on the smokestacks, and he literally looks like just higher than a kite. Where he's like, oh yeah. Where his eyes just like go inwards.
Tadpole form?
Yeah, or the amphibious form.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Yeah, there's like a lot of little technical stuff like that, like with the eyes going in to give you that added effect when he's smoking in, and then when he's like chuckling, when he's laughing at Godzilla while he's diarrhea and all over. Even just the diarrhea in general looked actually pretty credible.
Green and gross.
And ripping like sludge out of the monster the entire time, stomping all over him.
You know what would have made that scene epic if he actually like elbow dropped him?
Yeah, another thing that's kind of weird is there's no like army. Not really till the end. Like you figure like a giant sludge monster attacking cities, you might want to try to use some tanks, or even the masers, the tanks that we've seen in other movies that probably could have got the job done.
After 9 movies, the Japanese army just finally gave up, man.
Yeah, they're just like, Godzilla's got this. This little kid says he'll fight for us.
We believe
roll with it.
We'll go with it. They just gave up. They're like, we quit.
I just love how he's just all of a sudden just like, Godzilla's gonna come save us. Why? I dreamed it. And that's just how Godzilla became a good guy.
Told you, he's psychic.
Little kids dreaming things.
He's psychic, man. I'm telling you. He should be in like the next 10 movies.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the bummer of this movie is that there's not really any military presence, so you don't get like the cool like jets attacking the monster scenes or like the tanks attacking them.
Well, there's like the few helicopters that drop those ice bombs.
The oxygen bombs?
Yeah, whatever.
I think that's what they called them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that. You get like the flashing the headlights at the door and try to track him towards the towers, which cars look cool. Tower looked cool. I like the special effects too for like all the electrical effects they were using in this.
With his drawing animated atomic breath?
Yeah, the atomic breath isn't quite as cool in this one, though.
Nope.
So, in the end, for Godzilla vs. Hedorah, I like this movie. It's got some problems with the pacing of the fight scenes because there's a lot of standing around and that happens in the fights.
Which we still don't know what it means.
Yeah, that kind of drags a little bit, but then again, like, once you get past that, there's a lot of iconic scenes that happen. And the movie's definitely different in good ways and bad ways, with me not care for the psychedelic scenes as much as some other people might enjoy it.
For me, there's way too much of negative towards the positive. So from my side, I'm going to say no to this movie.
Oh, so we don't agree.
No, we do not agree on this one.
So for as a Godzilla fan, definitely recommend checking it out because it's definitely the most unique Godzilla movie for the good and worse.
And for the people who've never seen this before, it would be no. Like, it's not your type of movie. Like, I understand the monster looks cool and everything, but that's as far as it goes, man.
But what do you guys think? Please let us know in the comments section below what you guys thought of Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. And also help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. We'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.